Hello everybody and welcome back to the Burrow. So we're here with Off the Wall Nerds, a Mongoose Gaming Burrow, home of the Off the Wall Nerds podcast. It's still just nerd at the moment. Justin has been MIA for quite a while, but getting things sorted out in his life. So the time being is just continuing on with myself. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, the channel's been growing. This is actually now my second episode of the month, so kind of back on track here to do this to a month. We're over 200 subscribers on YouTube. We're still over 300 on Twitch and over 300 on TikTok. So I appreciate everybody tuning in and everybody watching. So we're going to be talking about three things today. I had originally intended to only talk about two, The Boys and Cobra Kai. However, we just saw Deadpool and Wolverine during its opening week. So we are going to definitely be talking about that. We're going to start with The Boys, move on to Cobra Kai, and the majority of this podcast is definitely going to be about Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm going to see back off the music just a little bit right there. Hopefully it's not too quiet in the background music. But credit to White Bat Audio. Thank you for the music. It is copyright free. Just search it on YouTube. Give them a like and sub. In the meantime, so we're going to start off with The Boys. And I don't want to say controversy. The Boys apparently offended everybody because people just realized after 4 fucking seasons, this show is making fun of us. And I say us is like in everybody. For I don't care how far right you are, how far left you are. This show was making fun of us all. And if you just barely realize that, I'm sorry. Boys starts off The Boys. Like it just doesn't stop. Like you thought you saw the worst of it in terms of like how far they'll go. No, they went completely off the fucking rails. This is gonna be kind of quick on it. It's just like, you know, we watched The Boys and again thoroughly enjoyed it, but it's definitely one that needs a rewatch to really understand it. But a lot of the similarities between that and life, like, you know, the Homelanders versus the Starlighters. If you can't place that in real life, just give up on it. Yeah, you do find yourself being Team Starlighter, no joke. The Starlighters are definitely the how do I put it? I guess I'll say liberals. But, you know, they're overeager to do the right thing. But then you also have the Homelanders, which are the far right nut jobs. But played so well. But this is more or less on Anthony Starr. I swear this man needs to have an Emmy for his performance this season as Homelander. To say he's to say him playing Homelander unhinged is an understatement of the century for this show. From the first episode to the last, like he's just absolutely, how do I put it, like a calm, intimidating, unhinged, insane person. And you know he's just losing it because you see him very early on he's collecting hair, or like hair's falling out. And it's pointed out to us that while he is a soup, he ages like anybody else. So he's losing his hair, and you could tell it's basically teasing his own mortality while let's just say for argument's sake, he can't be killed. Like, Newman has probably tried to kill him. Obviously, the Boys have been trying to kill him. He can't die. Well, old age is going to kill him. That's just apparent with him collecting his gray hairs, whether they're from his head or from his pubes, whatever they are. It's just gross. But he is very much pointed out by Sister Sage that he went from getting his hair done every month or every other month to every couple of weeks. So she points out that he obviously came to her to basically accelerate him becoming, I believe in the comics, President Homelander or something to that effect, which we do see at the end of the season. That is very much in the cards. Like the season finale is just absolutely shit-faced bonkers. The season plays out like you would expect the season to play out. There, you know, plan after plan fails. Butcher leaves, Butcher comes back. Mother Milk leaves, Mother Milk comes back. The Kimiko, Frenchie continue their will they, won't they thing. I will say I didn't have an issue with Frenchie and Colin, I think was his name. But it was very much out of nowhere. Kind of like, okay, I get it, they used to know each other. But then it very much also played into, if you've ever seen the show Your Honor, like, you know, you killed the family and all of a sudden you fall for that person. It's like, okay, that's just gross. But one of the episodes I definitely want to talk about is where Homelander goes back to basically, I guess, where it all started with him. The testing on him, the torture, the how do I put it, the hazing he received from all these people. And I found out in the scene where he's sitting there, basically forcing the guy to jack off in front of everybody. That his laugh and his performance in that particular scene was like not exactly improv, but it was basically, here's the scene, do what you will. And that laugh, the laughing he does, is completely unhinged. I'd argue the Joker laugh from Dark Knight in the interrogation room he does with Batman versus this laugh is just too crazy to pick one. Like, you can't pick a better one. So that whole scene, that whole interaction was like, just say, here you go, here's the scene, and that's all it was Anthony Starr just absolutely scaring the shit out of everybody with his performance, thinking, okay, thank God this person isn't real. But yeah, we also get though him, how to put it, raising Ryan, and we find out, a lot of the soup saves are just planned action sequences that, it's like, oh, here's a bank robbery that they obviously staged, which, again, subtle, but think about it, like, oh, staging a crime and having the good guys come in and save the day. I mean, we think they do that in real life too, so not that far-fetched to think, oh, this is just a joke. Who knows? But they get Ryan to sort of train, and you see him go through the motions, and then you see where his dad, Homelander, comes in, and it is just when they're playing it for real, like they're doing the action, like not practice but actual going through the motions. Ryan kills the stunt coordinator, the guy who set up the whole scene. I think his name was Coy, and he kills him. Like, he tells him, shove him really hard, because in the practice runs you see Ryan just push him, he falls back a couple feet, and like, okay, good job. Well, Homelander gets into his head, is like, no, shove him really hard. And he shoved him hard, and Ryan has super strength and threw him into the wall of a building and kills him. So there's Ryan's first kill. And obviously he's distraught. Like, the next time we see Ryan and Homelander interact, Ryan's just absolutely beside himself, and Homelander's basically saying, don't be a pussy, or don't be a bitch, like, you have to man up and deal with this. And Homelander going for Dad of the Year. But this whole plan, from Ryan doing this to you seeing Homelander set up with even Newman and running for vice president. Now the president, well, they're not running, they're elected, so she's the vice president elect. Sister Sage being the smartest person, I guess, in the world. Obviously does her due diligence, is doing all that, and is basically guiding Homelander, saying, this is what we're going to do, this is how everything has to play out. So she's very much important to the story, and we find out that her brain is always growing, so she has to do some gross procedure. We'll get to that with the deep. But Sister Sage, of course, starts the whole thing off with killing Mother Milk's ex-wives, or they're his baby mama. They start off with him being obviously being an absolute Homelander fan and meeting A-Train and Homelander and the Deep, and they kill them to set up the riot that starts between the Starlighters and Homelander people. That, oh, they look with the Starlighters that they killed them, and then that's, again, if you can't pinpoint that to real life, I can't help you. But of course they kill him, and then it's just reported that he's gone missing, and so of course shit just goes haywire. And at first it went from just, I guess, how do I put it, peaceful yelling, to then Sister Sage, of course, starting off the whole riot where they start fighting each other. And it just, like I said, it gets intense. And Starlight, of course, trying to keep the peace, but again, doing amazingly well. So we have then, of course, diving into what Butcher's been doing or trying to do, and Butcher is dying. They make no mistake about it. Butcher has some sort of bug, some sort of cancer, something like that, that's obviously killing him, and it's not in relation to, at least I don't think they don't directly say it's like in relation to him taking the compound V or having dealt with anyone else in that fashion of him being infected. It seems like it's cancer because you see this like little thing just swirling around in his veins in his head, and of course Leia was just like beside herself, like, oh, that's gross. Of all the gore we see in the show, that's what bothers her. So Mother's Milk is in charge and definitely tells Butcher get out. You know, they had enough of Butcher, go on. And all of a sudden, Butcher recruits his old buddy, Joe Kessler, played by the amazing Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And that just gets even more intense because then Jeffrey Dean Morgan is pushing Butcher, like, you need to do this. You need to kill this person. Like, basically doing what Homelander's doing to Ryan, Kessler's doing to Butcher. But he's telling him that, you know, the key is to either kill Ryan or capture him to where he can go back with Mallory. Or Grace, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I forgot her name. I am so fired. But Butcher, of course, they get these cookies ready because they're, again, trying to get to Ryan because he's the key. So the kid is just doing his thing, and Butcher doesn't go through with it. Butcher just like talks to him. He gets, you know, just wants to talk to him, just gets to know him. And, you know, the whole gamer tag interaction where it's all don't be a cunt is wants to message you. That was great. So he gets to talk to Ryan. He doesn't use the poison or serum or whatever they were going to use in the cookies. He throws them away. And yeah, so he's just trying to have a relationship with Ryan. In the meantime, Huey gets a shock of his own. While they're dealing with Ryan, Huey's dad has a stroke, I believe. And Huey didn't answer the phone when his dad called, so that was actually, you know, he didn't answer the phone when his dad called, and we're all like, oh, we're all the audience like, oh, okay, you know, just ignore the call from his dad. Well, his dad ended up having a stroke. And not just any type of stroke, I don't want to say like in a bad way, but like this is the type of stroke that unfortunately led to him dying. But they gave, Huey pushed the envelope and gave him some compound V. It helped him, but it also obviously gave him powers. And it was screwing with his memory. So he didn't know what was going on. He didn't remember a lot of things. And so Huey had to, you know, after he unfortunately killed people in the hospital, accidentally, I should say, Simon Pegg played the role amazingly well. Huey played it well, but what the surprise was that Huey's mom comes into the picture because she was given power of attorney. So that was the shocker. Like, Huey had no control over what to do with his dad. He wanted his dad to stay alive, but his mom was ready to pull the plug. So that we see that little squabble turn out, and you know, that's where Huey's dad's memory goes back to when he sees her. He loses his mind. Like, you know, you left both of us. You left me, you left Huey, and that one stuck with me. Like, Simon Pegg really delivered on that scene. But we do lose Huey's dad. They get to calm him down and, you know, convince him, like, you know, hey, we're going to do this. And they let him, he passes. And of course, you guessed it, they mend their relationship. So Huey and his mom. And it continues on. So we have that going. And yeah, it's going great. So it's going from, like, you know, comedy, drama, action, and it's doing it all really well. So we finally kind of circling back to the whole season finale. So Newman is the vice president-elect. We see a secret meeting. Okay, secret slash not so secret, but with all the powers that be. So all the people that support Homelander, there was a shindig, and Newman is there. And unbeknownst to the president-elect, and all of a sudden now you see the discourse between her and the president-elect, and now the assassination attempt, again, pointing to real life here. But the season finale is definitely one of those that is absolutely off the rails. I know I said that earlier, but the season finale was definitely one for the books. So Butcher is also, okay, I don't want to say Butcher's all of a sudden better, but Kessler ends up being inside Butcher's head. Butcher's Kessler was real, his old buddy, but someone he let die under his command, and if I understood that, but Kessler was in his head the whole time. They lose Ryan because Ryan finds out what they were trying to do, so of course Ryan leaves. He unfortunately kills Grace, and he does, well, for a moment it doesn't seem like he does feel remorse for that. He kills Grace, so then Butcher is left with no other choice. So finally, when Newman agrees to basically come in and be saved, she calls Huey and is like, I'm done with this. So they save her daughter, and they get Newman, and they're like, okay, we actually had me going for about 30 seconds. We're like, wow, okay, they get Newman out of there. She's going to help them, or at least, keep true to her word. Huey's, of course, going to stay true to his word. And Butcher walks in, and with whatever fucking power he has, rips her in half. And that's it. Newman's done. Like, I sat there. I literally was no joke. Leigh and I were like in no joke in disbelief. Like, what the fuck? Like, Newman can die? And not so much because we've seen her shot at. We've seen her attempt to be fought and stabbed on, and either she can pop your head or just obviously not die. And then Butcher walks in again with whatever he's got going on, rips her in half. Yeah, and then of course Butcher knocks out the daughter. I remember if he killed her daughter, but I do know she was definitely out of it. So yeah, the boys finale was definitely one that left us shook, because we thought it was over at that point, but then like they all try to get out. Mothersville gives them new IDs, new this and that, and as they're all driving away, they all get arrested. Because now Homelander, the Speaker of the House, is who was kind of pulling the strings. They were the ones backing Homelander because now he's president. You see in a press conference, he's very much taking his commands from Homelander. So they stop and arrest the boys. MM is arrested, Frenchie, Kumiko, Huey. Starlight does manage to get out of there. You see Huey give her the nod, and Starlight flies the hell out of there. And now they're fugitives. And they pull cameos in from Gen V, the Guardians of Godolkin. They pull from, of course, older in the show, because at the end of the season finale, we see them pull out Soldier Boy. Soldier Boy is alive. He's in stasis. So this has already been confirmed. Now season 5 is going to be the last season. Jensen Ackles will return as Soldier Boy in season 5, and it will have a spinoff called Vought Rising with Stormfront. So that'll actually be about Vought coming up and coming. But if you haven't seen The Boys, I don't want to spoil it too much. It's definitely one you got to watch. It's one of the better shows out today. Again, making fun of society as we are today. If you didn't realize that, I'm sorry. But I loved it. I enjoyed it. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I am very much looking forward to season 5. Season 2 of Gen V, I believe, is either wrapped production or has started production. And this show, Vought Rising, is set to begin production, I believe, next year. And yeah, we'll see what's in store. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll say that a couple more times because we're going to talk about Cobra Kai next. So Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 1, they came out swinging. And I realize how that sounds now. But you think, as they say, like, oh, there's peace in the valley. Everything's great. Everybody's friends. So we have, Tori and Sam are friends. Miguel and Robbie are doing just fine. And of course they're dating. So Robbie's with Tori, Miguel's with Sam. And Dimitri is still with her. So Dimitri still has his girl. But yeah, that's what we got going on there. So it's peacetime. So there's nobody to fight necessarily. So they come out, and you know it's coming though. Kreese is around, and Kreese is back. So they have an episode where it's like they're all training for the Sekai Taikai or Taikai Sekai, one of the two tournament. And so they're picking 6 fighters. They have to go through the process. And of course, Johnny and Danny both agree, like, okay, they know they're being biased. So they're trying to pick someone or an outside influence to pick their best fighters. So we got a blast from the past who was in last season, Mike Barnes. Now we actually see Mike is obviously going to judge and send the best 6 fighters they have. He's going to judge them on their skill set and all that. So, but Mike comes in like hard. Mike comes in hard and he's trying to get these guys ready. And Mike is being Mike. Like, if you saw Karate Kids Part 1, 2, 3, and all that, you know Mike Barnes is the bad boy karate. And I love his style. He comes in, and both Danny and Johnny are like, hey, is this okay? And he just looks at them like, back off. So, of course, he's pushing them for the best and this and that. So they pick the 6 fighters. So we have Devin, Tori, and Sam. And then it's Miguel, Robbie, and Hawk. And that's what ends up. And fair, in total fairness, that we all knew it was going to be those 6. There was like no way around that. But we get a lot of them. Robbie's protege, you know, he finally needs to come to terms like, okay, I got to accept this. His brother is out of juvie. So Robbie's trying to help him. And, you know, Robbie keeps trying to poke the bear, like, you know, you need to come with me, or I want to help you, and this and that. And so finally, Robbie and Miguel and them end up fighting Kenny and his brother. And so that ends up Kenny's brother basically saying, you need to go with them. He goes, they just kicked our ass. He goes, you want to be with those guys? So Kenny's brother is actually the one that is telling him, like, you need to go and be with them. Like, you need to, you know, bury that hatchet, go with them. And so he's like, okay. And I see that, and it's totally great. And it lasts for all of about 5 minutes, sadly. Because we get some gut punches this season. So while the 6 fighters were chosen, not by chosen, but you know, they're all doing pretty great. And so we find out more of Tori's struggles. But we start with like some good news. Like, Tori's mom is doing better. So like the doctor's like, oh, we can reduce her meds. We can do this. Your mom's doing great. Your mom's doing better. And Tori's like so elated, so happy for the news. And what does Cobra Kai do? They punch us in the face like they did season 3 with oh my gosh, I feel so dick for forgetting his name, but for his friend passing away. And now they hit us with Tori's mom dying. And you know, Tori's like wigging out at the doctor's like, you told me she was doing better, you told me she was this. And I think it was an aneurysm is what they said. I forgot what exactly they said killed her, but she unfortunately didn't. She wasn't doing well. She didn't make it. And Tori, I honestly, this point I'm on Tori's side. Like, the doctor, you know, doctor's essentially almost like they lied to her. Like, her mom wasn't doing better because, you know, like, hey, they're reducing your meds, they're reducing this. It's like, you're gonna be doing great. And Tori is obviously just distraught. And she was visited by Kreese before this. Like, you know, she's like, I'm not going to call the cops, but if everybody's looking for you, like, she's like, I guarantee you LaRusso and Lawrence will. So Kreese came back to the U.S. from his training with the Rio Cobra Kai dojo to try to recruit Tori. It didn't work. But Tori's mom dies, and before I get to the end of the season, having seen it in retrospect, it's making me think, did Kreese kill Tori's mom so he knew she would lose it and basically come back to him? Because Tori was chosen as one of the 6 for Miyagi-Do, and they were to have a fight. Mike Barnes has Miguel and Robbie fight for the honor of being team captain, and then Sam and Tori were to fight for the honor of being team captain, but they stopped the fight because Amanda gets a call about Tori's mom having died, so they stopped the fight. And in this case, we think Johnny might have been right. Let her fight it out. Let her deal with it. But at the same time, in kind of common sense, you don't want her to fight under that kind of like stress she's dealing with. So it was really a catch-22. Like, they were all right, but it was up to Tori to deal with it how she wanted to deal with it. So of course Tori leaves, and so they still have their fighters, and you know, Chosen is trying to handle his business. And while this is all going on, Kreese is back in Korea with his old sensei, Kim Sung-eun. I forgot. Wow, I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. But we find out that Sensei Kim, from when she worked at Cobra Kai with Terry Silver, was actually a very long time friend of Kreese, because he saved her and mentored her and got it to where she was allowed to um, participate and learn karate from her grandfather. So there's a relationship there. Um, but of course, there's a lot to that as so he I was Master Kim Sung Young. He is asked to basically start training again, and he tells me, you are master over here, but you're a student. So he's trying to whip her students into shape, and so he has to go through a test, and literally against the Cobra, he gets bit by the Cobra and starts hallucinating, and fighting all of his demons. I say that loosely, but then comes out and passes his test, because it was about the journey, not about finishing it. One of those, not about it's not about winning or losing, about the journey. And he ends up coming back with the severed Cobra head, and that's when Master Sun Young is saying, "You are ready." Like he smiles, gives that evil dastardly smile, and it was like, "You are ready to train these students." And so of course Master Kim, she's elated also. So of course they get their students are more than ready. There's no question about that. They're just ruthless. They're Cobra Kai, for strike hard, strike first, strike hard, no mercy. That's just how they are. And then again, this was of course circling back, because again I'm calling it Kreese killed Tori's mom. I'm just how Tori found out Silver paid off the ref. I think she's going to find out Kreese killed her mom, and I don't think Cobra Kai is going to let her kill Kreese, but I think she's gonna definitely spill it, and Kreese is gonna be back in prison or something. But I really feel that's just not gonna go well when and if Tori finds out. If, again, this is the theory, if Kreese killed Tori's mom. And so yeah, we're at they actually, in the first 5 episodes, there's gonna be 15 episodes. It's the supersized last season. They're already at the Saikai tournament. So after Barnes trains them up, and a quick little, okay, I say quick, but we get actually Johnny Lawrence versus Mike Barnes. Those two fight. That was actually really great thing to see the bad boy of karate versus the true hero of the Karate Kid fight. But they're at the Taikai Saikai tournament, and lo and behold, they line up with the other dojos, and then we see Kreese and Kim with their students, and of course you see Johnny and Danny there's no fucking way. But they're in Spain, they're outside, if we're gonna go quick legal, they're outside of jurisdiction, there's nothing they can do. And then Tori walks up in Cobra Kai gear and a Cobra Kai gi, and you're just like, what? And it ends, it cuts right there. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Tori goes and gives one of the ultimate betrayals, holy shit. And that's why I said it hit me after a week after watching. I feel Kreese killed her mom, and it's gonna get beyond ugly when they reveal that. So, and it's just, yeah, I was dumbfounded. Leia was like, what the fuck? It's just, now we know, and we're gonna end up seeing a fight between Sam and Tori, and Sam's gonna be defending for her life, but Tori's gonna be fighting for her. Tori's gonna be unhinged, and that's gonna be absolutely terrifying for Sam, because those two are gonna fight. So that's something to look forward to in 3 months, as of August 1st. Right now, this season 6 part 2 will be in November. That was confirmed, and then part 3 will be in sometime in 2025. There was also some Miyagi secrets leaked out. Mr. Miyagi was not always the good guy we thought he was. Now, we see the Miyagi in the Karate Kid, and going forward, he was a good guy. He was very much attentive to his students, or student, but he was very much caring and all that for Daniel. There was no question about that. But Miyagi has a past where it sounded like he killed someone, or definitely did fight someone just for the hell of it. And that we see that when they're handed the headbands for the Saikai tournament, Daniel all of a sudden freezes. He's like, wait. And you see him after he gives the headband out, he goes over to Mr. Miyagi's box where they found out all this stuff. and Miyagi was a competitor in the tournament. And then that's another cliffhanger we're left with. So Tori switches sides, and Mr. Miyagi was in the tournament himself. And so, yeah, way to start us off. So first 5 episodes in, we get a dark Miyagi side. Tori betrays Miyagi to an Eagle Fang. And it's like, what the hell? And this is, again, just episode 5. So this means this part 2, we're either going to get the entire tournament, and then we're going to see what happens afterward, or they're going to take 10 episodes for the tournament. I firmly believe with how quickly they moved us to the tournament, we're going to get the tournament in the 5 episodes and have some sort of champion. I firmly believe, I really hope that they just let Miguel win this whole thing, because Miguel has been trying to get into Stanford, and that's something that would jump out on a Stanford application. So I feel they're going to ride it toward Miguel does win this tournament, and I feel he's going to pull off this tornado kick that Johnny was trying to teach him that hurt his back last season. So we'll see. But that's just my take. I really, really hope we get to see something like Miguel winning the tournament. As far as who wins on the girls' side, I wouldn't be surprised if Sam loses, like Miyagi-Do doesn't make it to the girls' finals and Tori ends up winning it again, or Sam does beat her. But again, looking forward to season 6 part 2, and just itching for more. Like, it's just absolutely asinine itching for more. So again, you guys let me know in the comments what you think of that one. We're moving on to the best movie of the year, best Marvel movie since Endgame. I'm sorry, in my personal opinion, Deadpool and Wolverine is the greatest Marvel movie next to Endgame. And yes, Infinity War is amazing, Winter Soldier is amazing, Civil War is amazing, Iron Man, Thor Ragnarok, among the best of the best in the MCU. But Deadpool and Wolverine promised, delivered, and then some. The greatest opening sequence in any Marvel movie, period. Reynolds, they're like, oh, you thought we would honor Logan's sacrifice aside. No, hell no. Deadpool immediately is just digging up Logan's grave. And you hear him hit it, and he's just like pissed off, like, what the shit, he's dead. He just starts banging away at the fucking skeleton. And you're like, oh god. And then he sits the skeleton up on the goddamn tree and starts talking to him. And yeah, it's just so stupid. And then the TVA shows up, and this is from the movie. They're like, hand over your weapons. I love this. He goes, I won't give you my weapons, but I promise I won't use them. And then he does. You hear NSYNC start kicking in with bye bye bye, and then he goes, there are 206 bones in the human body, 207 of you if I'm watching Gossip Girl. If you don't get that, I'm sorry. And then he proceeds to beat the shit out of them to bye 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 with Logan's skeleton, his adamantium skeleton. And in between every kill or something like that, you see him dancing to NSYNC. It is just absolutely bonkers, funny, hilariously insane. Ryan Reynolds is not the dancer. I forgot the guy's name, but he does have a stunt dancer. Yeah, the guy's name is Nick. Known as Dance Pool. He was credited as Dance Pool, and absolutely nails the dance, of course, because the guy is a professional dancer, but it absolutely nails the dance. And Reynolds then puts on Logan's claws and shakes his arms, and the claws pop out. He's like, I am so wet right now, and does his own Wolverine thing, and then proceeds to absolutely continue shredding up the TVA agents, going, Wolverining is so hard. To not go I would love to go through the movie scene by scene, bit by bit, but I want to keep this how to put it, compounded, constructed. So of course we get some of the moments we see in the trailer. It's Wade's birthday. Him and Vanessa are broken up. But we do see why later on. There, it does make sense. So what he's trying to do is better himself. And so while we see the party and all that, then we see a flashback where he's still using Cable's time device. He goes back to 2018, and he's in the office of none other than Happy Hogan. And it was great seeing Happy in there. And I'll give Reynolds props that this was like a level grounded performance. Well, yes, there were jokes, but you see Wade sit there and he goes, he wants to be an Avenger, and Happy's like, okay, why? And he tells about he wants to matter, he wants to make a difference. And this wasn't Deadpool being funny or Deadpool being facetious. This is Reynolds giving a grounded performance, like, you know, Deadpool wants to have a purpose, and you feel for it. Like, okay, Happy, of course, declines because he uses to go to Earth 616, and so Happy, of course, declines after some, you know, light jabs and all that about him being a chauffeur and him being the, you know, car driver and all that. So then he goes back to his Earth, which is Earth 10005, and, you know, the birthday party ensues, and then TVA shows back up and takes him to see Paradox, which is trying to tell him, like, oh, they bring up the new phrase or term, anchor being, which their universe, the anchor being was Logan, Wolverine. So that means when that anchor being dies, the universe begins to die. He said it takes a couple thousand years, but the universe does die. And so it was great with Deadpool saying, oh, you thought, it's like, oh, I'm the anchor being, and the Paradox laughs like the rest of us. Like, oh, you thought you were the anchor being? No. And then they replay the last scene of Logan where he's crying and all that. It's just all, and it was great. Of course, and then, but then they suit him up, and of course it was looking sexy in that red suit. So pointing out the guy, this guy's ready to throw it all away for. It's all, who are you calling? Are you calling your wife? I'm calling HR. Oh, your wife works in HR? Great. So then, of course, Reynolds gets all this information that, okay, his universe is dying. They want to kill it quicker. He doesn't want to let that happen, so he takes the temp pad and, of course, starts jumping through realities. And we get all kinds of tidbits. We get the Old Man Logan references for a log cabin. We get the comic-accurate small fry Logan, where we see him talking to Logan in this bar. He jumps out and it's all, oh, look at you. You're so adorable. Because in the comics, Logan, at least in the first run of X-Men, like, he is 5'3", like 200 pounds. And the 200 pounds is because of the skeleton. So he's 5'3", 200 pounds. And it's like, it was absolutely hilarious to see that. And so another one we get is where he's on the X, is on the cross of, is on an X cross, if you will. That was a reference to Uncanny X-Men. And then there was the one where he's like basically a James Bond type. That was another one. That was just the Wolverine comic. And then we get the greatest casting of Wolverine we didn't know we wanted or needed in life. So going into the scene, and I know I'm going bit by bit here, but when Deadpool comes across the Wolverine variant, I knew right away it wasn't Hugh Jackman. The guy was just too big. Like, and Jackman is massive. So all of a sudden we're like, okay, who is this? Because it has always been Jackman. Turns around, it's fucking Henry Cavill. It is fucking Henry Cavill as a Wolverine variant. And, like, granted, there's only a few of us in the theater, but we lost our fucking minds when we saw it was Henry Cavill. And I've seen a couple audience reaction videos, and people lost their shit. It's like where Deadpool goes, the legends are true. The Calverine. And I love how he goes, if I speak for all of humanity, this just feels so right. And I will say this, I learned this after watching the movie. It is the first time in 25 years that someone other than Hugh Jackman was the live action Wolverine. Because all those memes have been going on for years since Logan, in 2017. There's only been one Wolverine. There's only been one. So Cavill became only the second person ever to play a live action Wolverine. And while it was only for 15-20 seconds, it was a glorious 15 to 20 seconds. Make this happen, Marvel. It was great. So we got to see Henry Cavill with it. The rumors were true. He did pop up and play a Wolverine variant. And it doesn't stop there. So Wade brings back the version of Wolverine we see in the trailers. He brings it back to TVA. They both get pruned. They're both in the void. And they come across a figure that sounds familiar. And you're like, no. And it's Chris Evans. The red, white, and blue. We're like, oh, it's fucking a Captain America variant. We knew it wasn't the Cap, but we knew it was a Captain America variant. At least we thought we did. And all of a sudden he rips off. He goes, flame. He's gonna say the thing. He's gonna say the thing. He's all Avengers Assemble. He goes, flame on. And we're like, me and Leia were like, wait, what? Rips off the clothes, and it's the Fantastic Four, and he takes off like, it's fucking Johnny Storm. Like, we couldn't believe our fucking eyes. Like, they all, like, holy shit, they brought back Johnny. So of course he goes up against Pyro. Pyro makes sense that he beats him because he manipulates the fire. So he does take Johnny out, but then Sabretooth comes in, and it's all ready to die. It's all time. You know, again, this was in the trailer. But when Sabretooth and Wolverine fight, he fucking cuts his head off. That is a reference to 2009's Origins Wolverine, where he goes, "You're gonna kill me?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna cut your head off and see where that, you know, start with that." Well, he cuts his head off, and look what happened. And of course, Reynolds, Deadpool does this whole, "This is your queen, Furiosa," and oh my god, it was fucking great. So then they get to Cassandra Nova's hideout, and yeah, Deadpool gets Johnny killed. Like, holy shit. Even Logan's like, "You just got him killed. You're an asshole." So they manage to escape. Of course, they meet Nice Pool and fucking Dogpool. There are no words to describe that interaction, but it's just great. It's like, "Oh, give me those pistoleros." It's like, "Yeah, over my dead body." And yeah, so they get to his ride, and of course, Deadpool promises Wolverine that he can fix his universe. Well, while they're driving, he of course is like, he goes, "Well, what are you gonna do if they can fix your universe?" And Wolverine's like, "What?" He goes, "Well, what are you gonna do?" He goes, "No, before that." And then Deadpool hesitates, is like, "If they fix the universe," stops, and they start fighting. Like, you know, you lied to me. And Deadpool's like, "I made an educated wish," which is my new favorite thing to say. But they fight. Good God, it was an amazing fight sequence. But they fight. They're passed out at this point, and someone jumps in the van, drives them off, and we get a collection of cameos we did not know we needed in our life. Again, I'm saying this again because holy shit. So they're in this lair, this hideout, and the first cameo we get is Elektra. We get Jennifer Garner back as Elektra. The score is not supposed to slap this hard. The score is hitting so fucking hard. The next one we see walk in is Wesley Snipes back as fucking Blade. Oh my fucking god, my head almost popped. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, what? And then the moment fans have literally been waiting for over 10 years. Gambit. You see the card coming. So people are like, okay, Gambit. And then it's fucking Channing Tatum. It is Channing Tatum in the role he was born to play. And we're still waiting for him to get his fucking solo movie. And delivers a pitch perfect Cajun accent, which is, for those of you who don't know, that Cajun accent, it's a Baton Rouge, Louisiana French accent. Like, everything in Louisiana is French. They call them quarters, they call them parishes and all. They don't call them counties and all that. So, I love that when he gets introduced, and like after the score, he goes, Reynolds looks at him and goes, "Oh, look, a reminder of my own inadequacies and all this and that," because, you know, people like Channing Tatum's better looking than Ryan Reynolds. Okay, for the record, again, when I say his accent was perfect, you can't understand a fucking word Gambit is saying. He goes, "My name is Remy Lobo, but you may call me the Gambit," and he's all, "I'm sorry, come again?" So obviously we know as fast his name is Gambit, and it's so beautifully done. The scene is great. The fourth person we saw in the trailer, it is X-23, and that's where even Deadpool's like, "Logan, that's who I was telling you about. That's her." And you see him kind of look at her, and she's like, you can tell she's holding her excitement back / her amazement to see a Logan, to see Wolverine, because it was stated they get a lot of Deadpools, they don't get a lot of Wolverines. And as far as I can tell, that's like the first Wolverine they've ever had in the Void. So they talk about it, and they talk about going back to Nova's place and taking her out, and they talk about how they were all taken. Like, so Blade just said something, knocked at the door, took him out. Electro was basically kind of the same thing. Gambit was kind of like, Gambit was kind of like, I don't remember being born. I was just brought here. And I can't do the accent, but it's just fucking great that Channing Tatum delivered this. So they all agree to the plan because then they're like, they talk about legacy, and while they're no longer in their worlds may have forgotten about them. Blade even accepts that, Elektra, Gambit. So they're like, yeah, we'll help you save your world. And of course Logan's like, no, and he's all, read the room. So they agree, and when they asked if they're ready, fucking Gambit, Channing Tatum, I came out of my daddy ready, and I said, what's up, Doc? It's like, oh my fucking god. I couldn't believe that came out of Gambit's mouth and not Deadpool's. Like, it was, oh my god. So they go back to Nova's, and we see a lot of variants of like Lady Deathstrike. I forget the character Kevin Nash played in Punisher. I think it was called the Russian. I forget his name. We see a variant of him. We see Toad. We see Pyro. And we see a bunch of variants that these people got to play. And of course they come in, and Logan ends up coming with them. Like, he hides out in the back. But while they're driving up, they start talking about the variants, and then you have the previous. I have to backtrack just a little bit because of this fucking line. When Blade is talking to Deadpool after they talk for a couple minutes, then Blade's all of a sudden, I don't like you, and you hear him go, never did. That goes way back to Blade Trinity, when Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds hated each other. And by hate each other, I mean Wesley Snipes did not like Ryan Reynolds. Couldn't stand him, didn't like his humor. So it was amazing to me they got Wesley Snipes to come back to, because they had to tell Snipes, you're gonna be you. We want you in Deadpool. It is Ryan Reynolds, and I really hope that thing is sort of squashed. But that was a great little quip. And then of course, fucking Wesley Snipes, he goes, some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill. It's like, god damn it, dude, you said. They just let him repeat his lines from all of his badass quotes from the 3 Blade movies. But when he gets the bazooka, and he goes, oh, who's that? Well, it's Punishers. He goes, there's only been one Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one. And you see Deadpool just look at the camera like, yeah, bro, okay, because there's a new Blade movie, which has lost the second director. A story for another time. But so they blow it open. They go into Nova's place, and they had the goal is to get Juggernaut. That's another one, Juggernaut's helmet, to block her powers. So they managed to do that. Laura gets the helmet, and of course they're all doing fine. And then it comes down to, like, she talks about how she's Xavier's sister. There was only one other time she's seen a Charles, and then Logan becomes like the Wolverine we know, and saying, you know what, no, we're not going to do this. So he tells Deadpool to take the helmet off, and she was like, Logan tells her if Charles had known she existed, that he's like, Charles would have ripped a hole in the universe to find you. So she lets them go back, and they go back to Deadpool's universe, and we get the most obscene, stupid, asinine, funny, I mean, just absolutely obliterated my head with this following scene. So the army of Deadpools comes out, over 100 of them, and Lady Deadpool is Blake Lively. The kid Deadpool is Ryan and Blake's oldest daughter, and baby Deadpool is their youngest daughter. So the whole family is the Deadpool family. Among these other ones, the cowboy Deadpool is Matthew McConaughey. The Headpool, the flying one, was Nathan Fillion. Ryan Reynolds' Nice Pool was actually, I believe his name is Gordon Reynolds, unofficial brother to Ryan Reynolds. Like, there is a story behind that. And of course, then Dogpool and about 90 other Deadpools. So they apparently Nice Pool can't regenerate, so he dies. But then we get them coming out to the song from the trailer, and it's absolutely fucking epic. Hugh Jackman pulls down the cowl, and just that's it. Like, just holy shit, just rears up, pulls the claws out. We get maximum effort. We get the grunt, and they start obliterating all the Deadpools. And it was so much fun. And then of course, though, because they take them all out, like, oh, they all regenerate. So the fight continues on. And like, they get the perfect jumping out of the bus. Like, we get Jackman and that Wolverine pose we've seen from the comics, from the TV show. We get Ryan Reynolds doing his Deadpool thing, and all of a sudden the Deadpool's like regenerating, and then they're gonna like kill them basically. All of a sudden, Peter rolls up in his own Deadpool costume. And I swear to God, the amount of stupid, again, hilarious, stupid. Peter's like, no, don't, this is Deadpool, this, that. And all of them, wait, Peter? And they all just start like, what the fuck? And Deadpool's like, wait, you guys know Peter? And they're like, yeah, every Deadpool has a Peter. And they just jump up over him. They're celebrating, like, oh my God, Peter, this and that. And they're like, yay. So Prime Deadpool and Wolverine, like, okay, yay, pumping their fists, and they sneak out of there. It was so stupid. But we get that, and that was just enough for them to get down to take away that Time Ripper device that they were going to use to destroy universe quicker. So they get down there, and as they are told that it's a matter-antimatter conversion, which if you're a Star Trek fan, a Trekkie, you know that matter-antimatter is how warp drive is powered, which in turn, when those two mix unregulated, you annihilate everything. Well, that apparently they held true in the MCU. So he tells them it's a matter-antimatter. Oh, you'll die. And then Daryl's like, no, we'll do this. No, and Paradox tells him, no, you don't understand. He goes, you don't trust me, trust laws of physics. You will die. He goes, you will not. He goes, you'll be atomized. You'll be ceased to exist. Like, there's no way to bring you back. So Deadpool and Wolverine get in, do the whole Spock and Kirk thing. He goes, and of course Deadpool does the whole Vulcan thing on the glass, or Spock, I don't know, and then just starts fucking with Wolverine. But he breaks it. He grabs one of the wires and is trying to reach the other one. And all of a sudden, Logan does end up coming in there, and they both destroy the Time Ripper. Now, quick little tidbit: when they're destroying the Time Ripper and stopping Cassandra Nova because she is the one who wanted to use it, there's a scene. The scene is Logan's clothes rip off. Like, you just see Hugh Jackman in all his buff, muscular glory. That it is an unedited, aside from like the lighting and the CGI lighting, but when you see Jackman fully flexed out like that, his six-pack, his chest, his arms, that is 100% Jackman. There is no CGI enhancement there, just to make you feel more inadequate. Just like I was like, man, that just nope. So of course we think they're dead. They're not. So we get Hunter B-15. She looks to be, I guess, Ravonna Renslayer's position. Because, you know, she gets the alert, like, oh, there's an unsanctioned Time Ripper, and, of course, like, she's higher up in the TVA to be like, okay, no, we can't have this. And, yeah, so they bring it in, and she admits that they can stop Deadpool's universe from being destroyed, but that they can't change Logan's, or at least this particular Logan's universe, because his past made him the man he is today. And why would they ever change that? So it's like, okay, his universe is gone. Like, he can never go back. And it's like, it's somber for a couple minutes. Like, damn. Makes sense from the Marvel storytelling standpoint. It makes sense. But, so Reynolds is like, okay, maybe we can help a few friends of mine. So we see them back at Reynolds' apartment. And there's Laura, X-23. There's Logan. And, of course, everybody else. Shatterstar, Peter, Dopender, and all them. And we see with Laura there that, oh, the TVA went and got her out of the void. It makes you wonder, did they get Gambit, Elektra, Blade? So that make you kind of think there. The movie has to be seen to be enjoyed. Obviously, I recommend in theaters if you can. I mean, holy shit. Like, it needs to be seen with people. It needs to be seen with a group of people. It needs to be seen so you guys can sit there and cry from laughter. Because, again, the opening sequence, there is no matching that. There's just absolutely zero matching that. Especially because at one point, they tell Deadpool, like, you know, we're dead. He's all, I am Marvel Jesus. He runs to the camera. He's all, basically goes, get fucked, Fox, and then just bashes the camera, then runs back. It's fucking great. So, and then, of course, it ends. We get the credits, and we get a very, very nice send-off of the Fox universe. So, they did it to Green Day. I believe, I forgot what the song, Time something, or forgot the Green Day, name of the Green Day song, but it's basically a montage of all the Fox movies from all the X-Men, all the Fantastic Four movies, the first couple Deadpools, like, And it was actually nice. It wasn't a joke. It was a very nice send off because they're like looking back at what Fox did for Marvel, because they did kind of start the whole thing next to Blade, and of course we get Blade, Elektra, Daredevil, and all that. So again, it was nice to watch. It was a nice little couple minutes, and then we get an end credit scene. So if you think back the way Deadpool, if you have seen it, obviously you're listening to this far in the podcast, you had to fucking seen Deadpool. That he gets Johnny killed because he's like, oh, you were saying this shit about Cassandra and this, she's I forget the exact quote, but just that Johnny was insulting Nova, so she rips his skin off. I mean, literally rips his skin off and just lets his, I'm sorry, the boys couldn't have pulled that off any better. And so Logan's like, you got him killed. So then you see Deadpool at the TVA. And so for all you fuckers thinking I got Johnny killed, he goes back and replays the sequence, and you see Johnny repeating word for word, line for line, exactly what Deadpool told Nova Johnny said. And it was fucking great. And he goes, there you go. And he clicks it close and the movie ends. So Johnny did say all that. It was fucking hilarious. So I know those are obviously my thoughts. My thing is, this is the best MCU movie since Endgame. There is no touching Avengers Endgame. We're going to see the Russos are returning to direct Doomsday and Secret Wars. Downey Jr. is coming back to the MCU as Doctor Doom. That is going to be an asininely crazy way to pull it off. I'm waiting for that. But as it stands, Deadpool and Wolverine is second best MCU movie behind Endgame. It is crazy. It is hilarious. It is, and there's actually heartwarming story that Deadpool just wants to find something to matter, and he does. Him and Vanessa get back together. But I give this a 9 out of 10. There's just no way around that. From Chris Evans returning as Johnny Storm to getting Wesley Snipes back, Jennifer Garner, Channing Tatum finally getting to play Gambit, and then of course all the Logan Wolverine variants. It was just so much to catch, and it's like you have to go back and watch it. There are a lot of unanswered questions. The guy, so you see it in the trailer and you see in the movie, there's a guy in another prison sphere with them driving. We don't know who that is. That's never explained who it is. Thor, why Thor's crying, holding Deadpool, happens later in the future, we're told. But then they cut it. Like, no, you don't need to see that. You don't need to see that. So we don't know why Thor is crying. Reynolds has stated he knows why Thor is crying. Pretty sure he's going to take it. Yeah, we're pretty sure he's going to take that to the grave. He's not going to tell us. And then, but again, all the cameos from all the Deadpools, it was so well done. Thank you, Sean Levy. Thank you, Ryan Reynolds. Thank you, Hugh Jackman. Like, everybody involved with that movie, thank you. And I honestly, as much as I hate Disney, thank you, Disney, because they signed off on this. They agreed to do it rated R. They agreed to do certain things, but like the jokes in this fucking movie. If you raise your kid on Disney, you do not let them see this movie. I'm sorry. Because this is not, while it says Deadpool Wolverine produced by Marvel, I swear to you, this is not a Disney movie. Just because they said yes does not mean they're like, oh, okay. But they did sign off on everything. They did not say no to a single joke. According to Reynolds and Jackman, they did not say no to a single joke. They sent revisions of the script because, they're like, oh, we want to do this different. Sean Levy confirmed. Ryan Reynolds, the writers, were like, Disney did not tell them any joke is off limits. So, and that was kind of apparent because you see Reynolds pull the Will Smith joke, get my country's name out of your fucking mouth. Or he cracks, the whole HR sexual harassment joke. It's like, oh, you calling your wife? Does she work in HR? Jokes about everything. It's Deadpool. It goes after everybody. So I highly, highly, highly recommend you watching this movie. I am personally going to somehow find a way, probably physically buy they're definitely going to do a Deadpool trilogy collection I will want to buy on top of the Jurassic Park one I have. I want to get the Godzilla set. This will be the next one, is this like Deadpool Wolverine thing. It'll have to be a DVD box set with all three movies. The soundtrack for Deadpool Wolverine is absolutely bonkers. Like, every song was well placed, every song was well paced, the story was great, like everything was perfect. This was God's perfect idiots movie. That's how I would describe this movie. So, if you guys made it this far, I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, from Cobra Kai to The Boys to Deadpool Wolverine. I'll try to gather some content for the next podcast. It'll probably be a while, to be perfectly honest. I may do Twisters. That is a guilty pleasure movie of mine from the 90s, with Bill Paxton. So I will watch it. I don't know if I'll do a podcast on it, but keep an eye out. So again, guys, remember to leave a like, follow, subscribe. I probably should have said that at the beginning, so you guys probably won't hear this depending on how far you made it. But yeah, we'll be doing Mega Rayquaza raid. Is it Mega? Yeah, Mega Rayquaza raid day on Saturday. Likely to do some. I believe the remote raid limit's up to 20 or 40, but they can be remote rated. So wherever you are, you can invite your friends, do them. They appear at 11, 1, and 6 p.m., I believe. So get out there and get them. Again, guys, appreciate you tuning in. I will see you all in the next podcast, hopefully soon, and take it easy.